Good morning and welcome to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. That is John Cornell, JC. I'm Shane Matthews.
All right, man.
Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Action-packed show today.
Action-packed.
We're going to have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show, also Gator Bait. He's written thousands of books.
Thousands.
And then,
William Faulkner of sports.
We'll have him at 8:15, and then we're going to have former Gator and Denver Bronco, played in the Super Bowl twice with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Ricky Nattiel will join us about 8:30.
Yeah. Good.
But yesterday, JC, I've known for about a week, but we had Kerwin on.
Yeah.
And,
nice guy.
There's some tweets out there about Charlie Strong possibly joining the Gator staff, and I've known for about a week, but wasn't going to say anything because I don't want to be that guy that puts it out there.
Oh, you don't want to break news?
I don't want to break news, but it looks like Charlie Strong and Kerwin Bell are both going to be analysts for Dan Mullen and his staff.
Back to Gainesville for Charlie and his wife, and here we go.
It's a way that coaches stay in the game, and then the following year they go somewhere else. Because Florida lost 3 analysts this past year. They lost Chuck Heater. Chuck Heater, who was an analyst, is now joined Adazio at Colorado State. Ken Zampese, who was an analyst, is now the quarterback coach for the Redskins. And Greg Fry, who was an analyst, I believe he's now the offensive line coach at Duke. So it's just a way, because they're being paid by other sources from their previous job. Right. Mm-hmm. This is they don't make a whole lot of money doing this, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're bought out and they get money. I know of about 88,000 analysts that show up on Saturdays, and about I don't know how many analysts show up and listen to this and watch this every morning, but I'm sure it's in the thousands and thousands. So we have lots of analysts out there at QB, and it's good that Charlie's coming back to Gainesville. I know he loved it here when he was here, and certainly Kerwin, we love him, the throwing Mayoan of Mayo. Something distracted me there. But listen, hey, it's going to be a nice hour. We've got Super Bowl day after tomorrow, QB. It's Thursday, so I know
you're still wearing your Chiefs hat.
Well, I'm gonna root for them, man. I'm gonna root for them. They are 1.5-point favorites in the game, and San Francisco is the hated 49ers, but I respect them, man. They're really good. So I'm gonna pull for the Chiefs, but I think the Niners are gonna win.
It's gonna be a heck of a game, and we'll talk more about it. But before we get started,
what else
obviously you can watch our show and listen to it on Facebook Live, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And I was going to
Apple Podcasts.
You and I are not very technology sound
at all.
But on your Apple, I guess it can be more than a iPhone. But on your wireless device, the app, this purple one that says podcast, all you have to do is just boom, hit the button, and then it's going to come up and say subscribe.
So, really?
You hit subscribe. And then you type in Pod Up with Matthews in the morning, and bam, there it is. You can listen at any time.
So
have you not done that on your phone?
No.
Well, let's do it right now.
So it says iTunes Store right there. Is that it?
Not that one.
Which one?
This is great radio right here, boys.
Well, it's
why don't you have that one?
It's hands-on.
He doesn't have the one I have. We'll check yours at the break.
What is yours called?
It's right there.
It's called podcast. Yeah, maybe I got it hidden somewhere.
Well, no, it was automatically on my phone.
Well,
I didn't put it there.
You know, guys from the 60s and 70s, born in the 60s and 70s, trying to figure this out. We should, though. I'm sure I could get my 20-year-old at Florida to show me this.
Well, I'm sure that our producer can
I don't know why you have it and I don't have. Oh, wait, look, podcast. There it is.
Okay, well, you've already done it then.
What have I got?
You can already watch it or listen.
I don't see it. It says I'm all caught up. I don't know what I'm caught up.
Okay, well, we'll go move on to bigger and better things.
Taylor is having a coronary over there. See, Taylor, this is well, never mind.
What happened to Alabama last night against LSU?
Blown out, and this is why, QB, you try to get me all jacked up about the team, and as soon as I start believing, bam. They go on the road and lose by 14. Although, LSU's really good. If this was a 14-point loss at Ole Miss or Missouri, I would be more concerned. But I knew that LSU would present a huge challenge for Alabama. They'll get another shot at them in Tuscaloosa, and maybe they'll win. But LSU right now is the team to beat.
In Kentucky. Kentucky struggled a lot. They were down by 7 or 8 against Vandy.
Hung with them, man.
Most of the night.
I was thinking, wait a minute.
But South Carolina upsets Arkansas in Bud Walton Arena.
Good win for them. So, good win for them. This Vanderbilt coming up in 2 days. Is Florida? Florida's got to go up there, and I know Vandy hasn't won. In fact, I think Vandy has not won an SEC game in over like 23 games. I think they're 0-23.
Almost 2 years. Think about this, JC.
That's unbelievable.
We could have somebody in our research department look this up. But
yeah.
When was the last time a Power 5 school goes 2 years without winning a conference game? And what's amazing is you think back, Vanderbilt's always
they've been competitive,
pretty decent in basketball, especially at their place up there.
Their barn up there. You would think that this is a program that wasn't so bad, just like you said. I guess it's just they had that coach there. What was his name last year?
Kevin Stallings. Well, and then they had
Stallings. Then the younger guy, Bryce Drew. Yeah. He just couldn't get him to respond. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe they just don't have any players. I mean, I look at
who their coach is now?
No.
You don't?
Why would I care?
Jerry Stackhouse.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did tell me that. Well, Jerry's really turning on the switch right now. But I don't know. I think Vanderbilt is just one of those things. If it weren't for baseball, would there be a point to any of their athletics right now? Because obviously they're never going to win the SEC in football. I hate to say never, but that's an absolute I will live with probably, and not have to regret saying. Basketball it's competitive until now. It's not. And I guess it is, but they don't win, so I don't know how you classify that. And then what else do they do? They don't do gymnastics. They're golf. Who cares? Nobody cares about tennis, swimming, and no offense to all our tennis and swimmers out there, but these are spring sports. Have you seen the Vanderbilt softball team lately?
They don't have one.
Right. So, I mean, what is the school doing in this conference when we've got UCF, an hour and a half away, that has Orlando and all of the facilities and upgrades they've put into that program down there, and we're still dealing with Vanderbilt playing in some building that was built in the World War I era, and I don't know. It's just this is a joke of a program. Now, baseball, look, they got some pitchers and they got a coach, and all of a sudden they've won a few world titles, and they could have won 3, should have probably. But other than that, man,
we spent way too long.
Well, we're playing Vanderbilt in 2 days, QB.
Okay. At 8:15, we're going to be joined again by Buddy Martin. If you have any questions or comments for Buddy, let us know.
Well, I'm going to ask Buddy about Vanderbilt.
Maybe he'll tell me what the on the Titan MRI text line 352-353-7465.
Here we go.
Yes, we just had an IT lesson that went over like a lead balloon.
Lead balloon, that's a good one. I am really challenged, but I have as many apps as the QB does, as you can see on my apps.
A lot of these apps I didn't put on there. When I got my new phone, they're already there.
They just showed up. How is that possible? I didn't buy this app. This app with the pink box and the white star, what's the point of that app? Freddie gives help us out. And then we've got the 49ers by 2 touchdowns from Freddie. Freddie loves the 49ers. He's believing in me on this one. I don't know. The Chiefs cannot fall behind by 14 or 20 points, so I'll tell you that. What do you think?
I agree. Let's do this. We're going to, before we get to Buddy here in a minute after our first break, we're going to pick our 5 golfers. The waste management.
Oh, the waste management. And I won last week, so
you did. We got a new format. We don't know what your point system, but we're going to do an aggregate score. Okay, so just give me your 5 golfers.
Figure it out. All right, I'm going to start off with Tony Finau.
Just call them all 5 out.
All right, I'm going to start out with Tony Finau.
Okay.
Hideki Matsuyama. John Rahm, the guy who showed up for me last week. Matt Kuchar. And Xander Schauffele.
Well, we got several the same.
Well,
but but we don't have time to sit here and have like a draft.
What do we got to do? We're here till 8:55.
It doesn't matter. It's all aggregate score. I got Bubba Watson, Xander Schauffele, Tony Finau, Hideki Matsuyama, and Ricky Fowler.
You took Hideki. All right, why don't we flip a coin on Hideki?
Well, it doesn't matter. We're adding. Okay. We have multiple. We got one. We got 3 different ones.
The stimulating contest here. All right. Well, I'll win again, and probably because Matt Kuchar will win.
He might. Yeah. We'll see.
Although this is a tournament where they go on 16 and it's a bowl game atmosphere. It really is. Or an NFL playoff game atmosphere where nobody's quiet. They go crazy. It's a par 3, about 185 yards, which is really nothing to these guys, and especially nothing to these guys in the desert where the ball just flies. And it's a stadium environment, so you're kind of like in the horseshoe. It's like an Ohio State football game where you're teeing off in the end zone that's closed, and you hit it to the open end zone, and there's just people all around you, and it's really intimidating for the kids that are not used to this kind of thing. But Phil Mickelson eats it up, and he really plays it off. And so does Ricky Fowler.
We had Michael Collins on talking about it one day when you weren't here.
Yeah.
And he said not only on hole 16 where the crowd is screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
He said it's the entire golf course.
Why aren't we at this tournament?
Well, you're welcome to go.
Yeah.
Just book your ticket and go.
Too late now.
We'll go next year. You can be our live correspondent from the course.
That would be tremendous. All right. Well, that's this weekend. So we've got 3 golfers that are the same. I've got Rahm and Kuchar, and you've got Fowler and Bubba.
Okay.
So basically, it's between those 2.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we got a 2-horse race.
Yeah, I can live with that. Okay, I'll win again. What do I get for winning?
Another cup. Radware.
Love Radware and his cups. Okay, well.
And speaking of that,
yeah,
we're going to have a contest for the Super Bowl, obviously. So if you go to potupwithshane.com.
Pot Up with Shane or Matthews in the morning there?
Okay. Potupwithshane.com. You just sit over there.
Write this down.
And you put in your score. You can also do it on Facebook Live, your score for the Super Bowl. Winner will get one of these cups sent directly to your
Am I
house.
eligible?
Sure.
All right, potupwithshane.com.
Yes.
On your web browser there. I think okay, so
Are you confused?
Well, no, I'm just thinking quietly, but okay, so and then what does that's tomorrow. So, are the games on Sunday? So we'll pick it tomorrow. Is that when you want to do our
Friday? Yeah,
expert
we're not going to be home Saturday or Sunday.
No, our expert analysis will be tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
We'll get to see we'll hear what Buddy and Ricky Nattiel have to say. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first time out, and we're going to try to get the one and the only Buddy Martin on the phone line.
This will be our second try. I think
he overslept or something last week. We'll have to give him a little brief.
The snooze button. All right, we'll get him on here and see what he has to say.
All right, you're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer.
Bob in trouble, gets rid of it. Oh, big hit.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Adams Ribs, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Wiebe at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown!
Okay, Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, Nike, Palmetto Moon, and Regal Cinemas, along with others coming soon. The head ball coach's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and that's going to be there too. So we will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate, baby.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.
That's it.
From the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to go straight to the Titan MRI phone line right now and speak to the one and the only Buddy Martin. Buddy, you got John Cornell, Shane Matthews. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good, and gosh, John Cornell, I remember him.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah, buddy.
Good to hear from you. Yeah,
it's great to see you. Great to hear from you. I remember going on your show a couple times, and it's fun to do this with Shane and just kind of keep my brain somewhat in the sports world of things here in Gator Country, and it's really great to see you and hear from you.
Buddy, we got a lot of stuff we want to cover with you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, kind of recap briefly about the Florida football season, what you think of Dan Mullen the last couple of years, what he's done with the program, but in all your years of covering sports, and I don't know how many years that's been, buddy, I know it's been a long time. Have you ever seen a story like the Kyle Trask story?
I don't think I have, and I think the magnitude of his accomplishment was lost somewhat by the Joe Burrow LSU story, dwarfed, and people that never got it. They weren't paying attention. And you and I had this conversation on my show a couple of times. To go in off the bench cold like that, you've done that a few times in your life, to walk into a game where you basically have never started before and rescue your team like he did against Kentucky was truly a remarkable performance, really one of the great performances by a quarterback in Florida football history. And I think it might have gotten lost. And then the follow-up story of how he played the rest of the year. I mean, he had a phenomenal season. And when I started seeing these quarterback ratings, which drive me crazy, and projections for this year already, there are all kind of people talking about the top quarterbacks in the league and not even mentioning him. So I don't get it. Kyle Trask, as someone said, gets no respect. He'll play his way in their respect. And Dan Mullen, you know me, Shane, I've been on record for 2 years talking about Dan Mullen's coaching, how I like the mood lifter he brought in when he got off the plane chomping, his skills as a play caller, his evaluation of talent. And he made some mistakes, but man, what a performance, and how great it is for Florida fans to know now that they've got someone reliable, trustworthy, smart, the guy who's given them a bright future, double-digit wins. I don't have to tell you about that, New Year's 6. I think this program is on the move, and I think people better start paying attention, particularly in Athens.
Well, and follow up on that, buddy. You were on the Paul Feinbaum show here recently, and I guess you were saying that during the break that some Georgia fans came out of the woodwork to get on you a little bit about the fact that maybe with Fromm leaving and Georgia and Florida getting better like it is, that perhaps we have a new champion in the East coming maybe this next year.
Well, we'll see about that. But here's the thing about it. About stocks and things of that nature. When you're buying stock, you're buying on the come. You want something that's going to be good. And if you're buying stock in Florida or Georgia right now, regardless of if you're a fan or not, which one would you buy? One is trending up, one is trending down.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not knocking Georgia. Georgia's got a heck of a – Kirby Smart, as I said on Feinbaum, is a half-star away from being a fantastic coach. He's not there yet. Georgia is struggling offensively. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
I said this last year, Shane, you and I talked about it. I said I don't think Georgia is the same Georgia it used to be. I think Florida's got a puncher's chance against Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the answer, by the way, Dan Mullen had when the game was over, Florida, Georgia, and someone asked Mullen, how far away are you from Georgia? And he said 7 points.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. Well, listen, it's 3 straight wins for Georgia now. So this is kind of a streaky series. Maybe Florida can start another streak. You mentioned Kyle Trask, but what about some of this? Did you hear about Kerwin Bell and Charlie Strong now?
Well, I'm just hearing about it. I saw Dooley's tweet, and then, of course, I know people who know this, but never tell me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's a terrific move. It's true. I have no reason to think it's not. The news, I saw Pat Dooley's tweet this morning. A friend of mine told me today that this was happening. Bringing back a guy like Kerwin Bell is not only smart from the standpoint of bringing together the Gator Nation. It's also smart because he's got wisdom. I know Kerwin's game. I've covered him since he was at Trinity High School and played at Florida. He's smart. He's good. He's a good coach. He knows fundamentals. He's going to be a huge asset. And Charlie is the perfect backup, isn't he? I mean, Florida has to go looking for a defensive coordinator, and we see Todd's going to be leaving, which could happen. Why not have a guy in the house? That's the good thing about this program for analysts. Yeah. You got coaches in waiting sitting right there. And so I love that. I think it's a great move by Scott Strickland and by Dan Mullen. And let's credit Mullen for putting his ego aside and saying, let me bring in 2 quality guys who have a lot of knowledge about their skills, about offense and about defense. You can never have too much knowledge about that.
That is true. And let's not forget, as an analyst, you cannot coach. You can only kind of walk around, sit in on meetings, but you can do no coaching at all. Buddy, we had someone on Facebook Live ask, and I don't know if you have any knowledge of this or not, but there's been a lot of talk out there about Lamar Thomas, who's had a lot of coaching experience in the college ranks, about possibly coming to University of Florida. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I've only heard it on my show, and I've had a lot of people talking about it the last few nights. And one of my more knowledgeable guys who follows the program thinks it's going to happen. I don't have any firsthand knowledge of it. I hate to repeat rumors, but I just did. So I think it's going to happen, and I think it's a good move. And you would know probably better than I, but I think right now it's probably something on the drawing board.
Buddy, you talked about trends, and would you buy this stock of that? What is the Gator basketball trend right now after losing 3 straight games with Mike White? I guess in his fifth year, excuse me. Many more years to go on his contract. Talk to me about that trend right now with the way things are happening in Gainesville.
Well, John, on my show, Buddy Martin Show at 9 o'clock, if I can just say, on Facebook, live 4 nights a week, Monday, Thursday, we get this a lot.
Yeah.
One thing we don't want to go is down rabbit holes. Mm-hmm. We don't want to. You can criticize, you can second guess, whatever, but you don't trash. And the problem I have with the white critics is they've been saying this now for about a year: fire Mike White, fire Mike White. It's almost like the website that started with fireronzook.com, And I haven't seen enough to evidence to say that he should be fired. But I agree with the fact he's been very disappointing, losing 3 in a row. And the worst thing about it was the way they lost the 2 games. Yeah. I mean, to be up, to play as well as they did against Baylor and then just get hammered. I mean, they were just like a bunch of boys against men. Physically and mentally, every other way, this team was really you can have a bad game. And I'll tell you, physically, they're no match for the Baylors of the world. Plus, Baylor shot lights out. And Florida didn't have a best shooting game. Now, having said that, coming out on fire for the first 10 minutes against Mississippi State and the way that the young players shot the ball, Lewis and shot the lights out. Lewis had 10 points the first 5 minutes.
Right.
I tweeted, is this the same team I remember? What team is this? And, of course, it wasn't the same team. I mean, this regard, they're up at halftime, had the game kind of going their way and completely collapsed the second half, blowing an 18-point lead, couldn't throw it in the ocean. The last 5 minutes of the game, they were awful. And you have to say, you can lay it at the feet of only one person, Mike White. Now, Mike has to take that blame, and he has. And Mike admits he has no answers. And the worst part about it is, guys, defense is all will. It's will, And I didn't see a whole lot of will on that team the last second half. And that's concerning. If you don't get your defense together coming down in March Madness, you might as well kiss it goodbye. You won't even make the NIT. So I think it's alarming. I want to stop short of saying Mike White should be fired. He's going to have a tough year. He's going to have to weather it. And we all know what young talent is on that roster. And I think maybe we expected too much out of Kerry Blackshear. He's not Moses. And he's got a lot of young players, but they need to get it together and get it together quick, or Mike White is going to be in trouble.
We're speaking with Buddy Martin on the Titan MRI hotline. Now, Buddy, speaking of Mike White and the basketball team, you've seen a lot of basketball over the years, and just my assessment of what's happened, especially the last 3 games, agree or disagree with me. When you look at LSU, Baylor, and Mississippi State, I personally think those teams are as talented or more talented. They're bigger, longer, and they're way more athletic, and they're more physical. Would you agree with that analysis or not?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so my point being is I like the kids we have on our team, but it's a different breed of kid when you look at those three teams, and whether our kids
younger.
are a little overrated from a 5-star, maybe they weren't aligned correctly or whatever. But I agree, we got to get it together, or it's going to be NIT bound. They got 11 regular season games left. We got to figure something out, buddy. We got a couple of texts here on the Titan MR text line for you, and there's two that are kind of the similar. One from Jackson, one from Bobby. Jackson says, "Ask Buddy what was the favorite book he ever wrote." And then Bobby says, ask Buddy to talk about the experience of writing both the bios for the HBC and Urban.
Wow. That was an honor, by the way, being asked by both those guys to do those. One of my favorite little books, and it's not one of the famous people, it was a book about Gator football in which you were involved in, down where the old Gators played way back in the day. And I think probably I would have a hard time between Urban and Steve because they were different kind of books. The book Urban Meyer, Urban's Way, which is a name I made up, by the way, was really interesting because Urban dug deep, and we spent almost 2 years on that book. And I researched the book and talked to his friends and his family and players and whatever. And to be able to be led up close to the program as I was, to be able to go up and listen to the headset and hear the plays call, to go in the locker room at halftime, to eat with the team, to be embedded with the program was a unique experience, for sure. So I love that book. Unfortunately, we ended up the book in the last couple of pages, me interviewing Aaron Hernandez. It was a Hernandez glowing comments on Urban, which right now, looking back on, don't exactly line up. But I think the book and the body of work was really interesting. And then Steve Spurrier is, you played quarterback for him. You know what it's like. When he wants it done a certain way. And, we wrestle on a few items. We spent hours after hours after hours in Columbia, over at the beach, in Gainesville. And Steve was forthright and honest, but he wanted everything to be 100%, not 99.9. 100% like he wanted it said and accurate, and I really worked my tail off. I think it took a couple of years off my life, if you know what I mean. But by the same token, I'm honored to do it. I think it's a good book, Head Ball Coach. I loved it. And it's been my honor to write about, 5 books on Florida football, and I keep saying I'm not going to do it again, but I never know. I'm not going to say I'm not. So thank you for bringing it up. I appreciate it. And I'm really proud of the body of work of those, and honored to be the author who put that down for Coach Spurrier and Coach Meyer.
That's good stuff, and maybe there'll be some more history for you to account for as Dan Mullen gets this train going back on the right tracks after what was really a lost decade of Florida football. I would say, no question about it. But the things are looking up. Certainly, before we let you go, buddy, what about the Super Bowl? What are you thinking about that on Sunday with Kansas City and San Francisco? I know this is an exciting game here with these two teams. They're probably the two best teams in each – well, they are the two best teams in each conference. You got any thoughts on that?
John, it used to be my whole life. I covered so many Super Bowls and covered professional football with the Broncos and Denver and New York and the Giants and a little bit of with the Bucks, what have you. And so it just doesn't seem that important to me right now, but it's my fault probably. Yeah. I know America's excited about it. I'd love to see Andy Reid get his due. He's a great football coach, and the guy's been waiting. Kansas City waiting 50 years.
I know.
I was at that game.
Yeah, you were in the wow. You saw the Kansas City Minnesota game and the
I did. I was there when the balloon landed in the stands before the kickoff and watched. Yep, absolutely. And so, but I really have to go with Shanahan. Mike, of course, Mike's son I think he is a heck of a football coach. I watched Kyle grow up, in Denver, and obviously what John's done as general manager. I just like this San Francisco team and the vibe I get. They can run the football. They will run the football. And I just think I like their chances. Although Mahomes is a brilliant quarterback, Shane, in a game like this, which do you want, a better running team or a better passing team?
Well, most people say running game, but I want Pat Mahomes throwing that thing. They got the fastest receivers I've ever seen in that league, and I'm leaning. I like both these things. I think Kyle Shanahan. I've told JC many times, buddy, if somebody said you can start your own franchise, you have to put no money up, you get the one coach and one player. I'm taking Kyle Shanahan as my coach because I think he's brilliant for his age. And I'm taking Pat Mahomes as my quarterback. And, buddy, you get a team, and I guarantee you we beat y'all.
Well, now.
But you take his and beat yours, and you're going to beat his.
Yeah. So before we let you go, buddy, I know you got Gator Bait going on. You got some fundraisers with Terry Bradshaw rolling into town. Tell us about those.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, by the way. This is a rescue mission. Some people rescue animals. I rescue lost causes. Gator Bait been around for 40 years, and it was about to go under, and they offered it for me to buy. And like a stupid idiot, I said yes. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? So we've had it now for about 6 months. We're trying to get it rolling again. We've got some great writers. If you haven't seen it, please log on GatorBaitMedia.com and look at it. I think Cassidy Hill's a bright up-and-coming writer. Also, Fran Spear. We've got good writers, good photography. And that's available out there to all you Gator fans. It's a weekly, by the way. And even they let me even write occasionally. So, and I'm going to get Shane Matthews to write a column for me.
I don't know about that.
There we go.
Yeah, that would be good. And I want to mention that the Scott Brantley Trophy, and you're aware of that. That's the award the quarterback club gives to Ocala, to the kid in the 9-county area who's the best football player, best citizen, best student, all around, whatever. And we've got a young man from North Marion, Jaron Gilmore, who was voted #1 in the area, and he will be honored at North Marion High School on the 13th of March. And then on the 8th of March, on the 8th of April, mark it down, save the date, the great Terry Bradshaw, coming off his Super Bowl performance this week, will be joining us at the Riley Art Center in Ocala, and he will be an evening with Terry Bradshaw. Tickets available, so I'll let you know. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Marking it down, Shane. I want you there, you and Bradshaw.
All right. Hey, sounds good, buddy.
Buddy, keep your eye on that John Brantley III down there, if you would, please. He's getting a little crazy on me. Keep him under wraps, will you, please?
Yeah, that's a full-time job.
No doubt.
Good Lord.
Buddy, appreciate it, man. That's Buddy Martin. You can check him out at the Buddy Martin Show on Facebook Live, and we appreciate Buddy joining us on the Titan MRI hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the day, or is this our second
time out?
Second time out of the day. I'm confused.
I can listen to Buddy all day.
Well, he's got a lot of content.
Yeah, well, it's good stuff.
You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning. We'll be right back.
Time out! Time out! Hey! Time out! Time out! Time out! There we go. Good.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Let's give them something to cheer for now.
Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security, small enough to serve you, large enough to care. Gators Dockside, wings, ribs, seafood, and beer.
Bob in trouble, gets rid of it. Oh, big hit.
Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility.
Our touchdown sponsors are Radware Promotional Materials, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Gator BTW, Campus USA Credit Union, Celebration Point Town Center, Miapa Latin Cafe, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Adams Ribs, The Keys Restaurant, UF Mover Guys, Union Home Mortgages, Okido America Martial Arts and After School, and Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, podupwithshane.com, and click on the Advertise button or call Freddie Weeby at 352-284-3733.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Still looking. He's going for the end zone. He's got a touchdown!
Okay, here we go. Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate. As we all know, the premium brands there, Bass Pro Shop, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Regal Cinemas, all that coming soon. The head ball coach's new restaurant is coming soon, I should say. Spurrier's Gridiron Grill is soon to come. We will see you right there at Celebration Point where Gators come to celebrate. Want to also mention there on Facebook Live, we've got some predictions, QB. We've got Rick O says San Francisco 42-38. That would be really fun to watch. Another Rick says 31-28 Kansas City. We've got Brett coming in 35-29ers. And, it's fun to make these predictions. We'll see if one of them hits it, and we'll give you ours tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're going to go back to the Titan MRI hotline, and we're joined now by UF Hall of Famer and former Denver Bronco Ricky the Rocket Nattiel. Ricky, welcome to the program. How are you, my man?
I'm good, quarterback. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Ricky, we got a lot of things here. I got some texts for you. Some people knew that you were going to be on the program today. But first,
Ricky sounds like he just woke up.
He probably did. But first, I want to talk a little bit about your Gator career. I don't think a lot of people, even myself included, I was trying to look at some things that Ricky – did you know Ricky was recruited as a defensive back?
He didn't tell me that. I should have asked him.
Well, you didn't have to ask him that, and I don't think anybody realizes that because you were going to be a defensive back, but then I believe Dwayne Dixon, former Gator football coach, was injured or was not feeling well or something, so they inserted you as a wide receiver. Is that correct?
There's a little truth to that, but not quite. Actually, so I was actually recruited as a defensive back to Florida State. I was actually told by their recruiter that they were loaded at receiver. They didn't need another receiver. And, of course, me kind of took that kind of personal. That's probably why I had my best games against the Seminoles. But, no, actually, Mike Shanahan, I played quarterback in high school. We ran the veer option. Of course, I knew I couldn't throw the ball very well. But I knew I wanted to be on the offensive side of the ball. And at that time, running back, I didn't want to play. So that left receiver. So Mike Shanahan recruited me as a receiver, and I guess the rest is history from there. Actually, Dwayne Dixon was one of my mentors. So we were actually roommates my freshman year, so I had a great mentor in Dixon. So I got my first start when he got hurt. Is what the true story is.
Gotcha.
Against Bad. Okay. Yeah. He got injured. I was a backup, and that's when I got my first start as a receiver.
Ricky, it's the Peacock. We've got, the early 80s watching you. I only got to watch you play. I went away to school, so I only got to watch you when the game was on network television. And I'll never forget a play where Kerwin hit you on, I guess it was a sideline route, a go pattern, something like that, down the field against, I think it was Auburn, or it could have been Georgia. It was when you guys played Auburn and Georgia back-to-back. And I'll never forget the joy I had seeing Florida finally beat Georgia and coming off that Auburn win. And you and Kerwin, I thought, were the two players that were highly responsible for getting that program back on track after losing so many times in heartbreaking fashion to those schools. Can you recall some of those, some of your favorite plays or some of your favorite days as a Gator in the early 80s playing with Kerwin Bell? We had him on yesterday.
Well, there's no question. Like I said, back then, that's when, we played Miami, Auburn, Georgia. We played all the tough teams, but the Auburn, Georgia, those are always the big rivals. Those are always the ones you really get up for. And I got to admit, looking back on it, as you have time to reflect now that I'm getting older, you look back on some of those games. And like I said, Auburn games, they think they were beating us like 17-0, and we came back and won 18-17 on that one.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Georgia series, they were always killing us. Then I hit the 96-yard.
That was the play.
It was the 96-yard. The great thing about that play was I caught it right in front of Vince Dooley.
on the sideline.
Yeah, right in front of the bench. So that was kind of one that, put the nail in the coffin. So those were definitely some of the highlights for sure.
We're speaking with Ricky Nattiel from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios on the Titan MRI hotline. Ricky, when you were part of two teams, I guess 84 and 85, that had just tremendous talent up and down the roster. And obviously, we all know the reasons why they're not acknowledged as SEC champs and things of that nature. Does that bother you a little bit? Because I know I was part of the 90 team, and at one time, they had we couldn't be called champions, but it was up in the stadium. They made them take all that stuff down. Does that kind of bother you a little bit that I don't think the Gator Nation really acknowledges that 84 and 85 team?
Great team.
No, it doesn't bother me. It pisses me off.
Oh,
to put it bluntly, excuse my French, because like I said, you're entitled to put whatever you want up in your stadium. Because we went out there and we won it on the field, where it counts in 84, and just put it up in the stadium. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of the guys from the 80s kind of feel a little bitter. You don't see them around as much because they feel irrelevant. And we're the one that actually put Florida football on the map, believe it or not. I'll put our 84 team up against any team that ever came through Florida, period, bar none. We had first-round running backs, offensive linemen. We had everything, defense. We were a really good football team. To not get acknowledged, of course it hurts. But I guess time heals all wounds. But
well, that 84 offensive line, I agree with you, Ricky, even though I wasn't here. I'll never forget how good it was. And, if you had been able to play, I guess it was BYU that they gave the championship to, who struggled against Michigan. If you guys had the chance to play BYU, say, in a college football playoff type of scenario, you would have won by 4 touchdowns. So,
easily.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no contest, and it is a shame that a lot of folks have forgotten those teams, but I haven't, and a lot of old Gators haven't. We just had Buddy Martin on, and I tell you, he could probably talk about an hour on that 84-85 group because those guys were amazing.
Yep. Yeah, it was good. Like I said, it was good times. We had a lot of good talent, and it was, like I said, time heals all wounds, but. We know what we did. We know what we did, and it is what it is.
Ricky, before we move kind of towards your pro career and talking about the Super Bowl and stuff, last thing about being a Gator, talking about the Gators too. I think you had 18 career touchdowns as a Florida Gator. Would you love to be playing in today's football? Because a lot of dudes are catching 18 touchdowns in 1 year. It's crazy. And talk a little bit about, I know you go to practice a little bit here and there. What kind of pro you think Van Jefferson may be?
Van Jefferson may be one of the best route runners I've ever seen. Like I said, I've been to practice, and it's one of those guys. As soon as you see him line up, you're like, okay, this dude looks the part. But when you see him run routes, I mean, he's sharp, he's crisp. Everything he touches is with his hands. He very rarely drops the football. The only thing, he's not the fastest receiver out there, but he's so sharp and he's so crisp in his routes. He knows how to get open. He knows how to maneuver. And he's going to be a really, really good pro for somebody. He's just a true professional. You watch the guy work. Like I said, I love the way he runs routes. Love his discipline, and most importantly, I love the way he catches the ball with his hands, man. He is a good one. He's one of the best I've seen. That's coming from a receiver.
That's high praise.
Ricky Nattiel here, first-round draft pick of the Broncos back in the day, played 6 years with them, 2 Super Bowls. We had someone send us a text wanting to know I think I know the answer to this, but what was your highlight, I guess you could say, of being a Denver Bronco, or the one play that stands out the most as a Denver Bronco?
Well, obviously it was the one play of Super Bowl 22, first play of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, where I caught the 56-yard touchdown, but unfortunately, it was our only touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
We ended up getting blown out from there, but still, it was a great experience. At the time, I was the youngest player to, score a touchdown. It was the fastest touchdown scored. It was a great highlight. It's one of those things that you always cherish, but obviously, the bigger reward would have been winning the Super Bowl, and I could have cared less about scoring a touchdown had we won the game, obviously.
When you look back at your career playing with John Elway, Hall of Fame quarterback, they always talk about what a great arm and how hard he threw the football. Was it difficult to catch his ball?
Actually, it was. When I first got out there after I got drafted, you go out there just to, meet the team, start just off-season workouts, and I was just playing catch with him for the first time. Just standing there kind of relaxed, chilling, and he threw me one of those zippers in there, and sure enough, I broke my pinky. Oh. But I didn't let them know. It was a little fracture, and I knew it was broke. I knew it was broke the minute it hit it, but, I played it off. I'm like, there's no way. I'm going to let them know. I think I just broke my finger.
What was it like with Vance and Mark Jackson, Vance?
The Three Amigos.
Three Amigos. They gave you this moniker. Yeah, the Three Amigos. Tell us about those guys.
Hey, those guys, they were a lot of fun. Because like I said, when I played, it was more speed than size. Now these guys 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". Yeah, back then, my playing weight was 183 pounds, but we were running, 4.2s, 4.3s, so back then it was more speed and quickness. And those guys, they were, like I said, they were both there before I got there. But so we were all, similar in stature, similar in speed, different personalities, but when we put it all together, we made a great mix. And not sure how the name the Three Amigos came up. It was one of those deals where.
Well, did you do car commercials? Did you do car commercials with sombreros on?
we did Taco Bell commercials.
There you go. I'm going to remember that when we go play. I'm going to bring them a taco.
So, Ricky, when you look at this Super Bowl, and I'm trying to remember, I know Mike Shanahan wasn't the head coach with the Broncos, but I want to say he was a offensive coordinator or receiver coach when you were out there.
He was the offensive coordinator. My rookie
was Kyle even born back then?
Kyle, how old is Kyle? I was trying to do the math. Kyle is how old now?
He's got to be 40-ish, maybe.
He was probably born in the 80s.
Maybe 38, 40?
Mid-80s.
He was probably because he was a little kid then. He was a little kid then. Yeah, he had to be born then because Super Bowl 22 was my rookie year, which was 88. So yeah, 87, 88. So I think he had to be at least born then.
Okay.
But it's kind of weird how that goes back. I was playing for his dad now in the Super Bowl. Now he's coaching one. I mean, how weird is that?
So
I guess it was in his blood.
Yeah. Speaking of the Super Bowl, who you like in this game?
It's going to be a great game, but I got to go with Frisco only because if you stick with, they always say defense wins championships. And what I like about their defense is their linebackers. They're just athletic. I mean, they're fast. They're athletic. They just got a lot of hybrids all over the place. And to try to contain Mahomes, you're going to need some athletic guys, on the corners. And I just give them the edge only because of defense. I think they got a quarterback who can manage the game, kind of like Trent Dilfer did. He just managed the game, lets defense win the game for him. Not to make a lot of mistakes because he doesn't have to make the extra play that Mahomes probably have to make, the scramble plays. He just got to, like I said, manage the game, try not to turn the ball over. They got a good running game, and leave the rest to his defense. So only because of that, I'll give San Francisco the edge in a close game. Not sure what the score is going to be, probably in the high 20s, maybe high 20s, low 30s.
Ricky, real quick before we let you go, Lamar wants to know what your true golf handicap is on Facebook Live. Lamar wants to know what your true golf handicap is.
I'll have to go and look on my gin, I think. I mean, I never knew my gin yet, so it's not updated. I
Come on, Rick.
But if I had to guesstimate, probably 5.6.
Okay.
Give or take.
Okay.
Ricky, we got before we let you go here, we got
Ricky's a very good golfer.
Very good player. We got a text here on the Titan MRI text line from Wayne. He says, "Could you ask Ricky in his prime, could he beat Tyreek Hill in a race?"
Ooh.
Oh, that guy, no. My best was 4.29. I think that guy's running low 4.2. So I would have to say no to that.
He can run, can he?
Yes, he can fly. He can fly.
Amazing.
So I would have to say no to that one.
I mean,
that would be a pretty good race.
That would.
Probably the first 30 yards would be a good race.
Well, let's just say a 40-yard dash.
Well, one thing I will be able to say is that when Tyreek's in his 50s, he won't be toting around a 5.6 on the gin.
I bet Tyreek can't swing a golf club.
Or putt. So you got him there, Rick. So
hey, and that's the beauty of golf. Even when you're 60,
right.
you can still play.
That's right. All right, Ricky, we appreciate you joining the program, my man. Have a good day. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
That's Ricky, the Rocket Nattiel. Join us on the Titan MRI text line.
I wonder if so you think Lamar played with Ricky a couple times? Wants to know what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoy Ricky. I've really gotten to know him much better since coming back to Gainesville and seeing him and meeting him, and certainly watching him play for Florida when we had that one or two games on TV during the afternoons on ABC, and watching Florida beat Auburn and Georgia was just so satisfying to me, even though I was on another school's campus, and it was fun to see, and I certainly have a soft spot in my heart for him and Kerwin, and those 80 teams, those 84 and 85 teams were fantastic.
Well, think about the running backs they had.
Yeah, John L. Williams, Neil Anderson. They were fantastic.
It was crazy. James Jones.
They
had so much talent on those two teams, and obviously I wasn't a Gator then. I was watching Ole Miss, but I knew about Florida because I love SEC football.
Yeah.
But as you heard him say, a lot of those guys that played on those teams.
Well, I mean, what did Jeremy take that? Was that a Jeremy Foley rule?
I don't know, but it shouldn't have anything to do with the players and the team. It was the coaches.
Right, and Spurrier says the same thing about the 90s team, you know? I mean, we won the SEC, guys. We won the SEC. Now, of course, they are recognized as SEC champions.
No, we're not.
Well, in the stadium,
not anymore.
You are.
They took it down.
They took that down, too.
Yeah, that's been taken down.
Well, see, now that's news to me. Well, obviously not in the swamp looking at that wall. But I do remember it was there.
It was there, but it was taken down.
Who are we afraid of? Who are we afraid of offending? Why is it taken down? Why would it be taken down? Why would the ambassador let that happen?
It was took down before he got here.
So he's here now. Put it back up.
All right. Well, we'll ask him when we have him on the show.
I mean, honest to God, that team won the games on the field. They beat Alabama.
Yes,
I mean, gee whiz, they won the games, and this is what we're doing, right? We're doing games. We're watching football games. Anyway, any more Facebook Live questions there for us there, Taylor? Pop me up there, buddy.
While you're looking for that, JC, on tomorrow's program, obviously you and I will talk a lot about the Super Bowl, give our picks. We're also going to have Frank Frangie, longtime sports guy out of Jacksonville, who's the play-by-play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He'll be joining the program. We'll talk about what he thinks in the Super Bowl. Also, he's a big Gator, covered the Gators for a long time.
One of our back office producers, Rick, looked up Kyle Shanahan on Google and says he was born in 1979, December 14th, so that would put him right around 40 or 50. So
50?
Is that right? No, do my math.
He would be 40 years
89, old. 99, 09, 19, 40 years old. So he certainly was 4 or 5 years old when, well, okay, all right. It's what time is it, 8:50 in the morning? So Lamar's all over us. He loves us. I was there at every home game, says Lamar. And certainly as a Buchholz Bobcat, why wouldn't you be? So that's good stuff. And certainly was nice having Buddy Martin and Ricky Nattiel. These are some diehard old school Gators, and certainly enjoying the success that Florida's having. You know, I want to go back to Buddy. And, of course, if you missed all this, folks, you can come back and watch the show at any time on Facebook Live or YouTube.
Or Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, right. And, well, I'm only capable of remembering a few things off the fly.
You got concussion protocol? Are you in that?
I must have been, yes, certainly.
CTE?
Oh, no, God forbid. Now, what was I going to say?
Something about Buddy.
I was just saying, you know, he brought up, you know, that Coach White is concerned right now about the way this team is going on the basketball court, and certainly Saturday is an opportunity to get back on the winning track to beat a team that hasn't won in 23 straight. I really can't imagine Florida not showing up really motivated to win that game and play well in that game on Saturday in Nashville.
I agree, but the more I've watched this team,
could happen.
The more I've watched this team, JC, and again, I hate to be critical of coaches, and I never want to bash kids, but I don't think we're as talented as people think we are. My eyeballs tell me that LSU. Okay,
it has nothing to do with that.
It doesn't. LSU has young players.
No, it does.
Mississippi State
Baylor
has young
came
players.
in here with men.
Okay, I'm not leave Baylor out of it.
And so did Mississippi State.
LSU and Mississippi State is very young.
I know,
extremely
but they
young.
looked more.
My point is that we're not as physically strong
that's what I just
and
said.
As talented as the teams we're playing.
I agree with that. And
that's what my eyes tell me.
Yeah, and you don't even see the game from the court. I was there on the court looking at it. You're over there watching your analog TV, the old Magnavox you got sitting at the house.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, Saturday's schedule, Ole Miss at LSU, A&M is at Georgia, Tennessee is in Starkville, Missouri is in Columbia, South Carolina. All you Florida State fans get to sweat out the Virginia Tech game. Arkansas is at Alabama. Kentucky at Auburn. There's your highlight game on Saturday.
That's where game day is.
And that should be. And then Florida at Vanderbilt. You know, Auburn goes through that 1 week, and they were terrible. They got blown out at Alabama. They got blown out here, right, of course. And then they turned it around. You know, Bruce Pearl. Alabama fans really wanted Bruce Pearl, and they went after Avery Johnson.
We have a Facebook Live here says, so do we now have Kerwin Bell, Charlie Strong, Lamar? Okay, first of all, Charlie Strong and Kerwin are going to be analysts. Again, they do no coaching.
No coaching.
You are not allowed to coach. You just kind of walk around, watch tape, sit in on meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Lamar. Obviously, Lamar's not doing that because he's watching Facebook Live today,
and enjoying it every minute of it.
Yes.
And who wouldn't? We had Buddy Martin and we had Ricky the Rocket Nattiel, both of them going with San Francisco QB. Maybe I'm onto something here.
Well, maybe you are, but I'm telling you right now, Pat Mahomes is hard to stop.
Oh, he's difficult to handle, no doubt. But I would not recommend Kansas City fall behind by 10 or 12 or 14. Well, I guess they could.
So what happens if Kansas City gets ahead about 10 or 14?
I mean, sure, absolutely. Then you're going to see Garoppolo have to pull it out of his you-know-what like he did a couple times this season. But that would get away from what I guess the 49ers have done the last 2 weeks in their playoff games as they won easily over Green Bay and whoever the other team was. So I think who was the other team? The Niners played the Vikings and blew them out, and then the Packers, and blew them out. So this is not going to be a blowout, certainly, but I think we're going to be in for a very exciting and entertaining game. Do you have any Super Bowl parties you're lining up, QB, or what do you got to do? It's getting close.
Time will tell. But that's going to be a wrap on a Thursday.
We're out of time now.
Thanks a lot for Buddy Martin and Ricky Nattiel joining us here from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. See you tomorrow. Frank Frangie will join the program. You've been watching Pot Up with Matthews in the morning.